Welcome to SB408D Entrepreneurship. My name is Felicia Frida Aiden Aqua, and we're going to be looking at Managing Resources Unit 4. Specifically, we're going to look at Session 1, the meaning and nature of firm resources. By the end of this session, you should be able to define resources, what resources are, give us the characteristics of resources, some qualities of the competitive resources of the firm, as well as mention and explain any types of firm resources. To begin with, we need to look out for what resources are. And we're saying that if we're going to classify anything as a resource, it should be something that has what a strength or weakness of the firm. So it's anything that is of quality and is useful to the firm. You can have a lot of items, but then there are some which are useful, there are some which are not useful. And when it comes to businesses, we want to focus on the ones that are useful to us. And so for any resource, we're saying that it should be anything that has what quality or is useful to the firm. So far as it's useful to the firm, then it is what a resource. As such, a resource is anything the entrepreneur or his supporters can use in pursuing the venture's goals and objectives. And we have different forms of firm resources. We have the innovations of the firm, the ideas themselves we are going to work with. These are things which are distinct and useful for the business. Human resources are also very important. They are the people to help us what actually carry out the activities of the firm. And the quality of our product and service also counts a lot to helping with our firms achieve their objective. Sometimes the brand name, the goodwill attached to it alone helps the business also sell and thrive in the industry. The technologies we have may give us some sort of advantage and be useful for us in achieving our set goals and objectives. The skills we have, the skills of the manager, the skills of the entrepreneur, all these are resources that count and makes the business viable and be able to achieve its objectives. And we're saying that of the firm's resources, they can also take the form of equipment, location, and buildings. If you have the right equipment, you'll be able to do your work and do it perfectly, and that is going to help you achieve the objectives of your organization. Where you are located is also very important. If you are located at a bad place where there's less traffic to the place, you realize that it won't be useful to you. But if you're at a very good location, it's going to be very, very useful to you. The building you find yourself in is a resource, and it's also very important. If you're in a building where the aesthetics and the layout and things is bad, it's going to affect your operationalization and your feasibility. And so you realize that there will be inefficiencies in there, there's discomfort and all those issues there. And so these would all have influence on your business goals or achieving them. And so these are all things we need to look out for when we are talking about resources. Now, the characteristics of resources is that one, they are consumed. If it's not being consumed, then it is not a resource. So resources have to be consumed. They can only be used once. So you know that when you have raw materials and you process it, that is all. You need to use a different batch. Resources are meant to be consumed. They are meant to be used. They are meant to be um, exploited. Yes, and they must be in demand and are competed for. Yes, there are types of resources in the organization, but then no matter what type of resource you are using, there must be some sort of demand and competition for that resource. That makes it very, very useful, because if you are using something which is everybody has it, you realize that the usefulness is less. But if you have something which only you have and which others can't have it, you realize that it gives you that competitive advantage over the rest. And so for resources, yes, they must be consumed. They must also be in demand and be competed for. Another thing is that they should also have value. There should be a price tag to it. So the value of a resource, yes, what people, how much would someone want to patronize or give for that particular resource, that counts on the value. If it's a good value, someone won't mind paying so much money for that thing. But if it's of inferior value, you realize that people will not even be willing to pay or even take it for free. And so there should be that price tag to it. And finally, a market should exist for them. All resources should have a market for them. So these are 4 key characteristics of resources in there. And as we're talking about resources, we have what we call strategic and we have what we call non-strategic resources, or what we call common resources. So strategic resources are those resources that actually give us competitive advantage, whilst the non-strategic resources are the ones which are very much common, or they are used in the day-to-day stuff, or like they are, shall I say, they are just basic like essentials of life. They are just there. That kind of resource. And so like your office desks, your chairs and all those ones, those are not strategic resources. They don't give you any specific competitive advantage over the rest. And for strategic resources, there are 4 key characteristics of every strategic resource. These are 4 key things to look out for. 1, they must be valuable. Valuable in the term that they should be able to exploit opportunities in that industry or in the environment you find yourself, and they should be able to what? Minimize the threat in your environment. And then the next thing is that they are supposed to be rare. It is supposed to be just you or a few people in the industry who have it. If everybody have it, then it is not a strategic resource, because if you have something your competitors do not have, it gives you what? That competitive advantage over them. And they should also be what? Imperfectly imitable. Imperfect means that it is not so easy to just get a duplicate of it just like that. And so when your resources are imperfectly imitable, imitable means copy. So if you write perfectly imitable, you are wrong. It's supposed to be imperfectly imitable. And so that means that competitors cannot merely copy. It is not easy for them to just duplicate that thing. And non-substitutable, so that is the fourth. The fourth is saying that there is no substitute for that resource. Even if there is a substitute, you cannot get it at the same uniqueness. And so these are 4 key attributes of every strategic resource. 1, they are valuable. 2, they are rare. 3, they are imperfectly imitable. And 4, they are non-substitutable. Every strategic resource has to have these 4 attributes. So what are the types of resources we have in our organizations? We have financial resources, and this can be your working capital, your cash at the bank, the how do you call it, even the money people are owing you, your investments. All of these are financial resources to help your business would be financially sustainable. You have the physical resources, whether it's your infrastructure, it's your tables, it's your chairs. All of these are things you need in there. The human resources, these are very key in your business, because you need people to actually do the work or even run or work the equipment. You can have the best equipment, have the best IT and everything, but you still need someone to be able to use this equipment and tools to be able to give you the results you need. You have to have technological resources in your organization, because technology is what makes the world easy, or make things in life easy to do. And so you need to have some basic technological resources to help you make your work more easy, more efficient, more effective. Organizational resources are also very important, and you can't do away without them, whether it is even the organizational plans, charts, and all those ones, resources within the organization, your philosophies and all those ones, they are all going to affect your business. And these are all resources we find within the business. Information is also very key. Information is very key. If you are in competition, you always need good information to be able to go ahead of the next person. If you don't have the right information gets to you at the wrong time, you won't be able to make the most of it. And so informational resources are also key when it comes to what? Businesses. And so in summary, we have discussed the nature of the firm's resources, and we made mention that there are some characteristics of every resource. They should be consumed, there should be a market for it, there should be a price tag. We also made mention that we have what we call the strategic resource, which gives you competitive advantage over the rest. And we have the common resources or the non-strategic resources. And we've also looked at some types of resources we can have in our business. Thank you.